For today's example, we're going to be looking at the difference between the delete command and the remove command. It's confusing to a lot of people, so I decided to show it in this video. Now, to do this well, I'm going to show you explicitly how I modeled this small example file. I created a sketch on the origin plane and pulled that out into a new body. On one of the surfaces created by that new body, I'm going to create a secondary sketch. This is going to be a circular sketch. And it is going to be a cylinder created as an extrude feature. Now, if you look down at the bottom, you'll see in the timeline, you'll see a couple of sketches appearing and as well those extrudes that created those bodies. Make sure to make that secondary cylinder a separate body. And I also have two separate bodies in the feature tree on the left. If I go down and delete that original sketch, it will give me a warning. It'll say, hey, do you really want to delete that? Because that sketch creates some other downstream features. And when I do, I get a yellow error. That means that the system is able to continue showing geometry, but it's taking that geometry out of the cache. And if I look at that error more closely, it's going to tell me, hey, wait a minute, that profile that created my extrusion is missing. If I try to edit that extrusion, you'll see that it is missing a profile. So I went back and undid that. That's how a delete would work. And I can also go back in and do the same thing and delete an extrusion. If I click on one of the extrusions and delete it, you'll see a similar behavior. You'll actually see that the next sketch that was built on top of that extrusion is not only missing the plane on which it was created, but also some projection edges that the system creates by default when creating on existing geometry. So let's do another undo, and this time I'm going to go in and select the body. A body, not a sketch, not an extrusion, but the body itself. And when I do, you'll be able to see whether or not you select it in the graphic window or over on the left, you'll be able to see the command remove. There is also the command delete, and if I use the command delete, it will behave in the same way as before. But if I go back and this time use the remove command, notice that there are no errors. And this is because that remove command happens at the end of the timeline. So in this case, I create a sketch, create an extrusion, create another sketch, create an extrusion, then I remove the body. That is consistent and it works. And this is really the difference between those two commands. I can even delete the remove command if I so wish. There's no problem with this. Now, you'll notice that you can only remove bodies. You cannot remove extrusions. You cannot remove sketches. Only entire bodies may be removed. All of this is dependent, of course, on the timeline. So if you are working in a model with no history, that means no timeline, look down there at the bottom, you'll have a different sort of behavior. In this case, I still have sketches that came from my original construction, and I still have extrusions, and I even have the bodies. I don't have the ability to use the delete command. I don't have the ability to use the remove command. I only have the delete command. But if I use the delete command, it doesn't cause me any difficulty because there is no concept of the timeline. There is no conception of parametrics and that one feature is a child or a parent of another. So I can delete at will. In the next example, I created another cylinder and put a round on the end of it. Because I'm working in a non-history mode, I can easily go through and delete the body that the round was created on. This makes for some really strange geometry, but in certain cases this can really help. I hope it's useful, and good luck.